This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer.
Husband of Ruby Franke, Kevin Franke, saying through his attorneys just yesterday that he's focused on doing what's best for the kids at this point, which is a good thing. That's certainly what we want any parent to do when you come into some sort of crisis and your partner, is gone away. He says he refuses to sling mud and point fingers at this point. And also noted by the attorney is that they've been separated for approximately 13 months now. I find it all very interesting that he has no idea any of these things are going on. He seems to have been, I guess, not really fighting with Ruby for seeing the children. At least that's not what we've seen about any of this. It's been very much Ruby was hanging out with Jodi with the kids, and he was unaware of what was going on. That just all strikes me as very odd. If you have a good relationship with your kids and you're going through a separation for 13 months, it seems bizarre that you are like, oh, cool. Yeah, just take the kids. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Again, Tony, it just doesn't pass the smell test.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we do have this older daughter that has already come forward with allegations, and we know that there were calls made, and that was when he was in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really pass the smell test to me that all of a sudden he didn't know anything about any of his children, their physical state. All you have to do is look at one of their children.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have to see them. None of us had to see them to see the emaciated state they were in. And by this descriptions, we're hearing of the duct tape around, the ankles and the arms and things, that those are not just a recent injuries, but injuries that would have been there previously, at least from the description. So, I just don't believe he knew nothing. I think the reason that he doesn't want to cast any, aspersions toward her is because he's worried they'll come back at him.
Yeah.
So it's better for him to just be quiet and not say anything negative and hope that he doesn't get dumped in the grease. But I expect him to get dumped in the grease. She's already, said that the children really, it's their fault.
Yeah.
And I think next on the list will be him. I think she hasn't said anything negative against him because I think she knows that he holds a big key for being able to really shed light on exactly what went on all those years with those children.
Yeah, it's kind of a question of, is she going to take the whole ship down with her? It's one thing it's horrible, but it's one thing to make these weird accusations about your children. But they're kids, and they don't have a say necessarily in parental who's going to be taking care of them. If you go after him, the one family member, the one father that they have, and you start going after him too, then he could be out of the picture as well. But if she's the narcissist that she seems to be, I'm going to guess she's going to go in guns blazing at some point. What's interesting is his own attorney, in commenting to the press the other day, almost made an admission that Kevin has been involved in things of the past, saying Kevin is more interested in reaching out to his children, family, and friends to heal the past trauma and events. I don't know if they're strictly referring to what was caught here when she was hanging out with Jodi Hildebrandt, but it sure sounds more like what life was like when they were all together.
I 100% agree. These attorneys, they get on air and they want to make these statements to help their clients, but oftentimes you see them get down a little bit of a rabbit hole and sort of misspeak. I don't think he meant to really make that quasi admission or inculpatory statement that would hurt his client, but he did.
Yeah.
And everybody heard it, and it's in print, and I'm sure he'll try to maybe find his way around it. But the bottom line is, I agree with you.
It was made. The statement was made. It'd be almost impossible. And I'm not saying he is an abuser or anything like that. Honestly, the one thing that stands out to me, if I were to make a guess or assessment here from the sideline, which it is just that, just a guess and an assumption from the sideline, is that he too was probably abused by Ruby. I don't know how involved he would have been with the abuse, maybe very, but maybe just kind of sitting there on the sideline, being an accomplice, too afraid to speak up for what the repercussions could be to himself. and also letting the kids just take it because he doesn't want to go down the road of upsetting Ruby. That is my guess. But obviously, it could be anything, and he's still accountable if he's not speaking up and being the adult in an abusive situation.
Yeah, I think really what bothers me the most, Tony, is the fact that it would seem that the reason he might not be saying anything is concerned about his own hide in terms of what, her turning on him. I just find, that's very compelling to me. Tell what you know. Like you said, man up and tell what was really going on. This is really his chance. It's the perfect chance for him to take, if you will, the high road at this point and do the right thing for his children. Yeah. And I just think he knows so much more than he's saying.
I think he does. I think he could expose quite a bit here because I think this goes a lot deeper than what's just on the surface. The more we learn about this, the more it's starting to almost ring true of like Lori Vallow Daybell and that sort of magical thinking. And I'm curious just how magical it gets.
You're consuming the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.